Welcome to our channel. Enjoy the video.
Imagine saving for years to buy your dream home. A quiet neighborhood. Tree-lined streets. A place where your children can grow up safely. Now imagine that before you even move in, someone lets you know they've been watching you. Not for days. Not for weeks. For generations. In the summer of 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus believed they had achieved the American dream. After years of hard work, they purchased a beautiful 6-bedroom house at 657 Boulevard in the peaceful town of Westfield, New Jersey. The elegant home was over a century old, full of charm and history. It seemed like the perfect place to begin the next chapter of their lives with their 3 young children. Friends congratulated them. Neighbors waved as they passed by. Everything about the neighborhood suggested comfort, security, and normalcy. But appearances can be deceiving. A few days after buying the house, Derek visited the property alone to paint some walls and prepare for the family's move. Before leaving, he checked the mailbox. Inside was a single white envelope. Written neatly across the front were just 4 words. The new owner. There was no return address. No clue about the sender. Thinking it was a welcome note from a neighbor, Derek opened it. The letter began politely. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard. But the friendly tone quickly disappeared. The writer claimed that their family had been watching the house since the 1920s. Their grandfather had watched it. Their father had watched it. And now, they wrote, it was their turn. Then came the line that would make headlines around the world. I am the watcher. The letter grew even more disturbing. The writer knew the Broaddus family had recently purchased the house. They knew renovations had already begun. They even mentioned the couple's children, referring to them as young blood. Then came a chilling question. Have you found what is in the walls yet? No explanation. No context. Just a sentence designed to terrify. Derek's heart raced. This wasn't a joke. Someone knew they were there. Someone was watching. He rushed home and showed the letter to Maria. Together, they read every line again and again, hoping there was some innocent explanation. There wasn't. Instead of celebrating their new beginning, they spent the evening wondering whether they had just become targets. Who was the watcher? How long had this person been observing the house? And more importantly, were they watching the family right now? The local police were contacted immediately. Detectives examined the envelope for fingerprints and DNA and advised the family to stay quiet. They warned Derek not to share the letter with too many neighbors. Because the sender could be living only a few doors away. As darkness settled over 657 Boulevard that night, the beautiful home no longer felt welcoming. Every window seemed to hide a pair of unseen eyes. Every sound outside felt deliberate. The Broaddus family had bought their dream home. But someone else believed the house already belonged to them. And within days, another letter would arrive. Far more personal, far more frightening, and proving that this nightmare had only just begun. The first letter was disturbing enough to make anyone question their safety. But the Broaddus family still hoped it was nothing more than a cruel prank. They were wrong. Only days later, another envelope appeared in the mailbox. Once again, there was no return address. And once again, it was addressed to the new owners of 657 Boulevard. This time, the message was different. It wasn't introducing itself. It was proving something far more terrifying. The watcher knew details that no stranger should have known. The letter mentioned the family's 3 children, not by name, but with enough accuracy to make one thing painfully clear. Someone had seen them. The writer asked chilling questions. Have they found what is in the walls? Will the young blood play in the basement? Then came another line that left investigators stunned. I am pleased to know your names now, and the names of the young blood you have brought to me. How could someone know this? The family hadn't even moved into the house. The children had only visited the property a handful of times. Yet somehow, someone was watching closely enough to notice. Fear quickly replaced excitement. The Broaddus family stopped bringing their children to the house. Every trip to the property became a tense experience. Before stepping outside the car, they scanned the street. Every passing neighbor became a possible suspect. Every curtain seemed to hide someone looking back. The Westfield police increased their investigation. The letters were examined for fingerprints. DNA was collected from the envelope. Detectives interviewed previous owners of the house. They discovered something unexpected. The family who had lived in the house before the Broaddus family had received a similar letter. But only once. Just before moving out. They had dismissed it as a strange coincidence. Now it seemed like the beginning of something much larger. Investigators also learned that several neighbors had unusual habits. One elderly resident reportedly spent long periods sitting near a window facing 657 Boulevard. Another neighbor had a fascination with the property's history. None of it was enough to prove guilt. But every small detail added another layer of suspicion. Meanwhile, the letters continued to arrive. Each one became more personal. More unsettling. The watcher spoke about the house as if it were alive. As if it belonged to them. As if the Broaddus family were nothing more than temporary visitors. Months passed. The family was too frightened to move into the home they had spent their life savings to buy. Their dream house sat almost empty. A beautiful building filled not with furniture, but with fear. And somewhere, someone was enjoying every moment. The biggest question was no longer who wrote the letters. It was whether the watcher was simply a disturbed neighbor, or someone hiding in plain sight. The search for the watcher quickly became one of the strangest investigations in modern American history. The letters were carefully examined. Detectives dusted them for fingerprints. DNA was collected from the envelopes and stamps. Security experts were brought in. But every promising lead ended the same way. With nothing. The DNA recovered from one of the envelopes belonged to a woman. Investigators believed it may have come from the person who licked the envelope, or someone who handled it before it was mailed. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to identify a suspect. The evidence simply didn't point to anyone with certainty. The Broaddus family refused to give up. They hired private investigators. Former FBI profilers were consulted. Experts analyzed every sentence, every punctuation mark, every strange phrase in the letters. The writer appeared obsessed with the house itself. Not with money. Not with fame. With 657 Boulevard. The letters spoke about the home as though it were a living thing. Something that needed to be protected. Or perhaps, something that demanded new occupants. Soon, detectives began looking much closer to home. One family living nearby attracted attention after a neighbor mentioned that one of their adult sons had an unusual fascination with dark stories and old buildings. His writing style was compared with the watcher letters. It wasn't a match. Another theory focused on a different neighbor who could clearly see the front of the house from inside their own home. Again, no evidence. Police interviewed residents throughout the neighborhood. Some willingly cooperated. Others refused to speak. Rumors spread across Westfield. Neighbors started suspecting one another. Friendships began to crack under the weight of suspicion. Then another possibility emerged. What if there was never a watcher at all? Some people wondered whether the letters had been written by someone connected to the sale of the house, or even by someone trying to escape an expensive purchase. It was a controversial theory, but investigators found no evidence proving it. Like every other idea in the case, it remained only a theory. Years passed. No arrests. No confession. No definitive suspect. The mystery only grew larger after newspapers and television networks around the world picked up the story. Millions of people debated the case online, each convinced they had solved the puzzle. But every theory had one fatal flaw. None could explain all of the evidence. The watcher remained invisible. Silent. Waiting. And as the investigation reached a dead end, the Broaddus family faced an impossible decision. Should they risk moving into a house that someone seemed determined to claim? Or walk away from the home they had sacrificed so much to own? The answer would change their lives forever, and leave the mystery of the watcher unsolved to this day. The investigation had reached a dead end. Months turned into years. Despite countless interviews, forensic testing, and endless theories, no one could prove who the watcher really was. For the Broaddus family, the house at 657 Boulevard had become more than an expensive piece of property. It had become a prison they were too afraid to enter. Unable to feel safe, they made the painful decision not to move into the home they had dreamed of owning. Instead, they rented it out while continuing to work with investigators. But even then, the nightmare refused to end. More letters arrived. Although fewer in number, they reminded everyone that the mystery was still alive. The watcher had not disappeared. Only grown quieter. As the story spread across newspapers, television, and the internet, millions of people became amateur detectives. Online forums filled with theories. Was it a jealous neighbor? A former owner? Someone obsessed with the history of the house? Or was it an elaborate hoax designed to frighten the family? Every theory seemed convincing. Until the evidence was examined. And every theory eventually fell apart. Years later, the Broaddus family finally sold the house. But at a significant financial loss compared to what they had paid. Even after the sale, the identity of the watcher remained unknown. Today, the house still stands. From the outside, it looks like any other beautiful suburban home. Children ride bicycles past it. Cars drive by without slowing down. To most people, it's just another house. But to those who know its story, it's one of America's most unsettling unsolved mysteries. The case has inspired books, documentaries, podcasts, and even a television drama. Yet despite worldwide attention, no investigation has produced the one answer everyone wants. Who wrote the letters? Perhaps the truth is hidden in evidence no one noticed. Perhaps the writer stopped long ago and will never be identified. Or perhaps someone still knows exactly what happened, and has chosen to remain silent. Sometimes, the most terrifying mysteries aren't the ones with ghosts or monsters. They're the ones where an ordinary person writes an ordinary letter, and then vanishes without leaving a single answer behind. Because somewhere in Westfield, New Jersey, the watcher may still be watching.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our next video. See you in the next one.